What's up, guys? Welcome back to Seafood Kitchen Barbecue. This week we're going to be making cheese steaks on the Blackstone. We recently took a trip to the East Coast and had to bring some good food back with us. We're going to be making these out of some shaved ribeye steaks today, and we've got a French loaf from the grocery store. And unfortunately, a big part of the cheesesteak is having really good bread, but I'll show you a good trick to get that crispy bread right out of the oven. Alright guys, we got two beautiful ribeye steaks here. These have been hanging out in my freezer for about 45 minutes to an hour. Want to get those nice and chilled so we can slice them up. You can see they have a lot of intermuscular fat, which would be delicious if we were frying these up as steaks, but we're going to want to remove some of that fat for these cheesesteaks. So we'll get out our nice meat slicer here and we'll start by trimming off some of this fat around the outer edge. And you can see this one here has got that little pocket of meat right in the center of it, and it's surrounded by those big hard pieces of fat. We're going to go ahead and trim those off as we move through this. We're going to slice against the grain here so these just fall apart after they've been cooked through. These couple of chunks here I'm going to set off to the side so we can get that center piece of fat cut out of there. We're definitely going to leave some fat in this, but we want to take out that hard fat that's not going to render down in the pan. Be sure to save this fat. There's a bunch of different uses for it, and we'll just run through all this meat and get this sliced up. Look at this, nice real thin shreds here. They're all under a 1/4 inch or so. We want them to break down on the griddle. Good marbling in there. I think we got a good fat to meat ratio, so they should be nice and juicy. Okay, now we got the meat handled. Let's jump over to the Blackstone, get that thing fired up, and get some meat on the grill. Alright, our griddle is oiled up. We've got our peppers and onions down. We're going to drop in about 2 tablespoons of butter right into the center of this pile and work that into our peppers and onions mixture. The combination of the oil and the butter are going to give these a nice caramelization as they sit here and cook. We'll cook these down until they're just about done, and then we'll push them off to the side and get the meat started. You want to keep these peppers and onions moving so they all get caramelized evenly. Now that those all have some good color on them, they're not quite dark yet, but we're going to go ahead and pull those off to the side and get our ribeyes down. We let these come up to temperature so they weren't going on the griddle cold. It's going to help for cooking evenly later, especially when these slices of meat are sticking to each other. You got to try and break them down. Use your griddle tools there to split up the big chunks and make sure you get a nice flat layer on that griddle. And we'll keep an eye on this, coming back and forth for the next 15 minutes or so and making sure we got a good color and making sure this is cooked all the way through. As these are cooking, we're going to take the opportunity to try and break down some of these slices. You want a bite-sized consistency out of those long cuts of the ribeye, so just use your spatulas to tear the meat apart and you should be good to go. Occasionally you're going to want to pull all your meat to one side and pull off any of the juices that are draining down off of this. It's going to help get a better color on your finished product. We're gonna go down with some provolone cheese. We're gonna do one layer, about 6 slices. Once we've got our meat pushed into a rectangle about the shape of the bread we're gonna be using, and then we're gonna top that off with our caramelized peppers and onions. Now in hindsight, I would have done a whole nother layer of cheese right on top of these peppers and onions. Let's take a look at the bread. This is just a standard French loaf we got from the grocery store. It's super soft, no crunch to it, but we're gonna turn this into something worthy of a cheesesteak. I've got a glass of water here and a basting brush. I'm just gonna lightly coat the outside of the bread with this water. This is actually a tip from J. Kenji Lopez Alt on how to reconstitute bagels and get that crispy, shattering exterior with a soft, warm interior. We're gonna throw this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes, keeping an eye on it. You just wanna get it out when it's nice and crispy. You've got a nice crunch on the outside, and you can hear it. The bread will sound a lot more hollow. So the way we're gonna prepare this, I'm gonna slice this loaf right down the center, and then we're gonna take each of those halves and make another cut down the middle of the bread and open that up like a big boat. This is where we're gonna fill our cheesesteak. So let's open these up and take them out to the grill. Alright, now you're going to want to take your cheesesteaks with all that cheese melted. We're going to separate these into 2 portions for our 2 loaves. We're going to grab our bread boat here, and we're going to scoop and shovel in each portion. Just trowel it down into that cavity there. Rinse and repeat. Alright, let's get these inside and cut them up. Alright, we're going to take both of these loaves and slice them right down the middle. That'll end up giving us 4-foot-long cheesesteaks. Look at these. With the addition of a little more cheese, this would have been a perfect cheesesteak, but these came out amazing. Those peppers and onions are perfectly caramelized, the provolone goes really well with the ribeye, and it was all perfectly cooked. Let's dig in and enjoy. Alright guys, that's how we make cheesesteaks around here. Thanks for watching. Remember, the recipe will be in the description below. If you like this video, leave us a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys next week on Seafood Kitchen Barbecue.